All right, so you've gotten tired of paying giant companies tons of money to watch stuff that most likely you already own. In fact, actually, you could probably just throw the DVD in and or Blu-ray and watch it. If only anything these days had Blu-rays or DVDs. Don't get me wrong, PlayStations and Xbox still get sold with the disc drive, but this is a video showing you how to use Jellyfin. And the best part when it comes to this is you just need something simple like a flat pack. First things first, let's go ahead. We'll start this off. Let me move my cell phone. We're going to need that later. Let's open up our flat store. Now, for me, I use Discover. It's the one that I'm most comfortable with. I enjoy using it. And we're going to go ahead and grab two applications. First one is Jellyfin. Now, Jellyfin is like Plex, right? But they don't charge their users to use their service, even if you're hosting the service. Anyways, that's a deeper conversation. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab Flat Seal. Now, in some situations, you're going to need this, in others, you're not. But Flat Seal allows for the sandbox environment that the flat pack is in to be able to reach out and grab other information, like what we need from a USB drive in this situation, because I have a USB hub that has my hard drive in it. All right. Once those two are downloaded, we'll go ahead and continue from there, which was an awkward cut for me to grab a drink of water. Alrighty, so we're going to type in Jellyfin, and we're going to grab Jellyfin server. Now, with Jellyfin server, it's going to open up in a web UI when it decides to open up. All right, anyways, it's going to open up into a web UI. In this situation, we're going to give the name of the server a test name, and we're going to click next. And the password is going to be super secret 12345. Alrighty, now change password. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, next thing we're going to do is open up Flat Seal. However, you're going to open up Flat Seal. All right, so now what we're going to go ahead and do is add our media library. So first things first, we're going to select content type, movies, and then in movies, I'm going to grab my folder and I'm going to come down here to my Rust drive. Now, how I got that Rust drive, if I go over here to Flat Seal, and the Rust drive is spinning, it's a, fun little nickname for, solid or non-solid state. So spinning disk, we call them Rust drives, or some people in the circles that I've been in call them Rust drives. You may not call them that. Well, whatever. Tangent over. We're going to go ahead and scroll down here. And what I did in Flat Seal is we need to go to Jellyfin server, and we're going to enable USB, right? So for Jellyfin, we're going to enable USB devices, and that gives access to the USB device that, is the hub for my solid state or my spinning Rust drive. Anyways, go down here, select that, and then we're going to select what folder inside of that hard drive is the one that's being used for the movie hosting. So movies, and that's it. And then you can see that I've got some cool options like The Last Castle, a fantastic movie. If you're into war movies, that one's really good. It's based off of in them being inside of a military prison. Anyways, so we're gonna go ahead and click next, and then next, and then allow remote connections to the server. If unchecked, all remote connections will be blocked. Editor David here. That means that if you have remote connections outside of your home network, they won't work. I hadn't thought to check into that when I was recording, so corrections, so this way I can keep recording. Anyways, back to the video. So we're gonna go ahead and enter in my username and password, and you can see that we have all of those fun movies that I have. Why on earth does that not have a... Anyways, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about connections outside of the home. This is where we talk about Tailscale. Now, before we talk about that, I do want to mention that if you feel like you have deja vu because you already watched a video where I talked about this, I have to kind of talk about where like I oofed or something when it comes to this. So I was familiar with the situation that happened to Jeff Geerling where he talked about services being hosted from home and like something related to, and I don't have all of the details, especially because I found out that I was slightly wrong on some of my concerns with the details, that YouTube is like could cause problems with my channel or the video being taken down or things like that, and just back forth, left, right, and center. I did find out that it was Jeff Geerling, that it had that happen to him. I don't know the fine details because none of it matters, but fantastic friends that I have, mentioned that, it could have come off in the wrong way. So if it did, come across as me saying YouTube doesn't want you to know about that or anything, that wasn't my intentions. So I'm sorry if you got that context from the original video. I'm going to keep the original video up. I don't really believe in deleting videos shorts all day long because shorts are, at least from my side of things, meant to grab attention to the channel. So I do get rid of shorts so this way I can kind of keep a track on how things have progressed. That's a whole nother YouTuber back end, like the way I do things. Um, just that's irrelevant. So if you see that a short disappears, it's probably because it served its purpose, and I don't like it just sitting there in my recently uploaded section. That's neither here nor there. Regardless, I'm not as concerned because there was a whole conversation that I had this morning, and the person that brought it up to me it's entirely right. Of course, I came off a little defensive because that's just how I am. So thank you very much for being a fantastic friend and being willing to argue with me over it. Regardless, we're here over on Tailscale. Now, Tailscale is a fantastic service that you should absolutely use. The one thing that I'll say is because it's a VPN, you have to actually have or like a secured connection of some sort, which is a VPN. Um Not all VPNs are secure. Anyways, you have to have the app installed on the phone or whatever device outside of the network that you want to use because it needs to be able to connect to the network that's being hosted. So there's that. So make sure that you have Tailscale installed because otherwise the steps I'm going to show you aren't necessarily going to be useful. All right, so I go into a long rant about why um, I'm going to be showing you IP addresses and whatnot. And don't worry, it's not anything that like you have to be concerned about because these are all part of the VPN service. So as soon as you delete the system or release a new IP address, stuff like that, it's all gets wiped away, but you also can't access them. It's not like a normal computer out there, right? So you can't access them without being part of the Tailscale side of things. I go into a whole long, like 20-minute rant about like how that works, and realistically, it's real easy if I just say it this way. So here you go, 45 seconds I explained. So, anyways, it's a free service. It's a free service for general normal users, just the at-home user. I'm going to go ahead and log in with the Google account, and we're going to go through some of the setup, personal at-home use, other HomeLab. All right, and I don't use a VPN. It actually doesn't have, I don't think it has my VPN provider here. Other? It doesn't really matter. Okay, and then select how you heard about Tailscale. I heard about it from YouTube. Thank you very much, Wendell Level 1 Techs. All right, so I am on this particular system using a Fedora system. So what we're going to do is we're going to click over here at the installation guide, Linux, right? And then view script source. Oh, wrong thing. Linux. Here we go. Scroll down, and I'm going to go ahead and grab Fedora or later. And this is the one of the few times I'm going to tell you to copy and paste stuff into your terminal. So we're going to go ahead and go through this setup process, and we'll just blindly trust that Tailscale is going to do, going to be the good guys. We're bringing up the service, right? And then control, if you're in a Fedora, system like I am with console, or KDE environment like I am with console, hold control and click and that's going to bring up Brave browser because I have yet to pull this out from here. Close all. Yes, there we go. So we're going to go ahead and shift. There we go. And sign in and connect. All right. Now, if we go back over here to Tailscale, it will see the IP address that it's assigned to this device right here. And this is something that we're going to want to keep track of. Skip this step. Installation's done. We're good there. I almost knocked over my tea. All right. Now, we have Tailscale installed. We have Jellyfin installed. Let's go over to our cell phone. Give me just a moment because I have to set it up for the cell phone. So when I come back, I'll have everything set up. Yeah. All right. Here on the phone, we have Tailscale. All right. So we're going to go ahead and click Get Started. And we're going to click Log In. Takes a little bit here. Don't know why it's taking a little bit, but hey, it wants to take a little bit. And then we're going to sign in with our Google account. And we're going to select our host Gmail account and connect. And that's it. Real easy. In fact, actually, once the login's successful, you'll see here that it has actually added my Google Pixel, right? So we're set there. Now we're going to come over to the Jellyfin server. Now, what we're looking for is, see, this is the name of the server that we have. So this is Archiver's server is 100.73.12.9. So if we go ahead and click connect, it's going to spin for a little while. The reason why it's going to spin for a little while is because we are missing the port. Now, to get the port information, we're going to come over here and we're going to go to settings and we're going to go to dashboard. This has all of our information that we have here for this connection. All right. And we're going to go to general. No, it's not general. I always mess this up. Networking. 8096. So if we put in a colon 8096 and click connect, it should see the server without any issues. Did I mistype something? I found the issue that I have here. I hadn't completed the process, so it's got to show that it's connected. All right, now we can go back to Jellyfin, click connect, and we have access to our Jellyfin server. Good thing that those types of things happen. So this way I can kind of show off what I figured out at the end. So we're going to log in as David and my super secret password. All right. And now we have access to my Jellyfin server. Really nice and easy. Now, that is an administrative account. So maybe we don't want our friends and families connecting with an administrative account, right? We don't want them to have full access to delete stuff or anything like that. So if we go through and we add Moidy, right? And enable access to enable access to all libraries. Now we have that. So if we sign out, add server, and then we're going to come in and type in this again, 73.12.9 colon 8096 connect and Moidy. I don't know if it's case sensitive. I don't want to find out. We already have. So we sign in. Now Moidy is connected and Moidy doesn't have any, any like back end access. So let me see if I show this off. Archiver to connect. David. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We don't want to let Moidy know that, he'll have access to more stuff. But see, we have access to our dashboard and everything from inside of from inside of the app. So that's that. It's very easy to get stuff like this set up. I'm using a flat pack because flat packs are easy. Everything is containerized and all of the dependencies and everything that it needs are right there. So you're not really running into any mismatch type of issues, at least that I've seen in the 2 weeks that I've been playing with this. It works just fine. It works on iPhone. Anything inside of your home network, you're going to be using your home IP address. That's a relatively easy thing to find. You can either type in fast fetch if your distro has it, and it'll be here in your local IP, or you can type in ifconfig, right, and it will be up here in your local IP, right, inet, right there. This is relatively easy stuff to do. And I'm choosing a flat pack because it is distro agnostic for the most part. So you can use a flat pack whether you're using it inside of a Debian based system or an Arch based system or a Fedora based system. Maybe even no, FreeBSD can't do that. No, anyways, no matter what you're using, you're going to have a relatively easy time. I should probably end my screen recording so this way I don't have to cut out like 16 hours worth of video there. But this makes it easy. This is nice and simple. And hopefully my concerns of having issues with my video are diminished. So regardless, this is going to be kind of the backbone that we're working with for future home labbing and home server hosting type things, is using something like Tailscale. It's free to use Tailscale. I believe let's see, tailscale.com. I don't feel like doing that. Okay. Pricing. If you want to, 10 users, right? 100 devices. If you want to support them and give a little bit more, more of a features, available to your use case, $6 per month is pretty solid. This is great. Otherwise, it's free for personal use right here. Personal. You also have personal for 6 users right here for $5 a month. Tailscale is a fantastic service. You should absolutely pay for it if it's helping you. There's no reason to not kick a few dollars, especially when how much are you able to save by hosting your own things that you already own. So something to take into consideration. I personally am really happy with this. I'm going to go ahead and get this video edited. I hope that this met some of the needs. We'll be looking at further things like home image hosting services pretty soon here, as soon as I get a chance to get that put together. So we'll see you guys in the next one. Don't be afraid to dive on into the rift.